miscommunication did happen on this project. You know, we were working with people who were trained in how to operate helicopters, how to fly them, and how to operate the electronic equipment in the back of the helicopter. We found that, well, first of all, the first communication challenge that we came up against was the communication of the content itself. I wasn't trained in helicopter piloting, and I had no idea what a sensor operator was until I shook hands with one. I had no idea how the technical worked, had no idea how the strategic part of this, how you actually play the chess game of finding a submarine that's under the water and get it to surface. That's what these people were trained to do. So the first communication problem that we had was the subject matter. The second was the simple day-to-day communications with people who in some cases were highly motivated toward our project and in some cases weren't. Learning to manage people's motivations became a very important challenge for us. There were people who just wouldn't show up for work when they were scheduled to work. Not on my staff, but on the Navy staff, because they'd have a check ride in the simulator or they'd be doing something else, and we were low priority for them. And so probably the biggest miscommunication problem that we had to do with an entire section of the subject matter. We mistook that what we were supposed to do was to train people how to fly this helicopter and how to operate the sensors in the back of the helicopter. It turns out that, and we did our task analysis, a very thorough task analysis, took up reams of paper, showing all the things that needed to be trained, and these resulted in instructional goals. However, there was kind of a meta performance that these people were engaged in. It was not just flying the helicopter and not just operating the sensor equipment in the back. It was using the combination of pilot and sensor operator skills as a team to fly across the top of the water, looking for, first of all, trying to detect a submarine, and once you had detected it, finding a way to keep track of it and to keep tracking, of course, the submarine's trying to escape. Well, there's this whole strategic, or what they called the tactical section of the training. And we found out about 2/3 of the way through the project that the subject matter expert team had not told us about this part of it, and we had not noticed it, and it was kind of a stupid mistake on our part. So I went to the head subject matter expert, and said, we need to do a little bit more task analysis and add some things to the curriculum. Of course, by then, the budget had been set on a certain number of things to be created. And so when I said to him, that means we're probably going to have to create some more instructional pieces, he said, well, no, and he started finding excuses not to do that part of the course. Well, once again, the people on the East Coast, because they had clear water to find submarines in, were much more expert, it turns out. And when the training hit the East Coast training site, the first thing they did is they opened up the box and they took out the training and they looked for this part on these tactical exercises, how to carry them out. And it wasn't in the course. And so they immediately packed up the box and sent it back and said, this course is useless for us. We need the tactical part. And what happened, the long and short of it was, the U.S. Navy had to make another contract to design more training. And the subject matter expert turned out to be wrong. He should have just said, yeah, we're going to develop this more training. And so that's how that worked out.